Okay, so let's talk about a guy who thinks he's basically cracked the code to life. His secret? Treat everything like it's a dream. Simple enough, right? But what happens when that dream suddenly twists into a nightmare? This is Sweet Love of Duality, and it's all about what happens when a personal philosophy gets pushed right to the absolute edge. The story kicks off with this incredible line. We're standing outside a factory, and our main character, Victor, is just watching the late night shift roll in. And that sound the buses make, it's not just noise to him. It sounds like an apology. I mean, that just perfectly nails the whole weary, downtrodden vibe of this world from the get-go. And this is our guy, Viktor. Now, on paper, he's the factory cook. That's it. But in his own head, he's way more than that. He sees himself as this detached observer, you know? Like he's standing on the shore of a river, watching all the messy human stories flow by without ever letting the current pull him in. He's basically a hermit, just hiding in plain sight. You gotta understand, Victor's whole life is split right down the middle, separated by just one single doorway. On one side, you've got his kitchen. Think sterile, white tiles, total order and control. And then you step through that door into the factory, and it's pure chaos, fear, and what he calls a low-budget afterlife. Two completely different universes. So, how does he even deal with that massive split? Well, this is his secret sauce. This is his core philosophy. It's this little mental trick he uses to survive. Know it's a dream, behave like it's the only reality. It's brilliant, right? It lets him stay detached from all the chaos, but still show up and do his job with purpose. But you have to wonder, where does a philosophy like that even come from? For Victor, it all started with a super common childhood fear, an experience that would totally change how he saw the world forever. For 3 straight nights, when he was just a little kid, he was completely paralyzed by this scraping sound. In his mind, it could only be one thing. A monster, just lurking in the dark, right under his bed, just waiting. So, night 1, he does what any of us would do, hides under the covers. By the second night, the fear gets more real, more detailed. But on that third night, after realizing his parents couldn't save him from this particular terror, something just snaps. He decides he has to face it himself. So he does it. He finally gets down on the floor, presses his cheek against the cold wood and looks. And there's nothing there. In that one moment, it all clicks. The scraping sound, the monster he was so scared of, it wasn't outside of him at all. It was coming from inside his own head. The monster was him. And that discovery, it's like it unlocked a whole new level in his brain. He found this core part of himself that was totally separate from the fear, separate from the whole monster drama, a part that just watched. He calls it the witness, and this idea becomes the foundation for his entire life. So this whole idea of the witness pretty much defines his entire adult life. And because of it, he has these really strict boundaries in his relationships. Boundaries that got put to the test, big time, by 2 very important women. First, there was his great love, Mila. She was really drawn to how clear-headed he was, and she made him promise her something. She asked him to be her anchor, the one person who would tell her the absolute, honest-to-God truth if she ever started to lose her grip on reality. But, you know, when that moment finally came, when he actually held her to that promise and saw through a little lie she was telling herself, she couldn't handle it. She called him cruel for seeing her so clearly. And instead of playing along, instead of betraying what he saw as the truth, he just walked away. Years go by, and then there's Jasna, who he works with at the factory. And just like Mila, at first she loved his clarity. But after a while, she started to hate it. She told him to stop pretending he was an island, completely untouched by all the messiness of real life. And then she crossed a line, a big one. She took things he'd told her in confidence, private things, and used them against him with management, twisting his words around. For Victor, that was it. A total breach of trust. And just like before, he cut the cord, clean. So you see the pattern here, right? 2 major relationships, 2 major tests of his worldview, and both times the exact same result. It shows us this is a man who values his clear-eyed, witness-like view of reality more than anything, even if it means he's going to end up alone. But that whole carefully built world of his, that solitary fortress, it's about to get invaded. The chaos he's worked so hard to keep on the other side of his kitchen door is about to come smashing in from every direction at once. And we're not talking about a slow burn here. This is a flash flood. It's just this rapid-fire series of events that all slam into him at the same time, threatening to drag his whole detached philosophy into a situation that is very real and very, very dangerous. It all kicks off when a woman named Anna, someone he barely even knows, comes to him for help. She's got bruises on her neck, and she tells him about this dark secret at the factory, some kind of dangerous side job that involves scary men and being forced to make deliveries of some mysterious pills. And then things escalate. Fast. All of a sudden, 3 women faint during their shift, right after eating the stew he made. And here's the kicker. All 3 of them were part of that same shady side job Anna was talking about. At the exact same time, the danger gets personal. Really personal. Viktor finds this handwritten note shoved in his locker. It's not subtle. It's a direct, clear warning. Back off, or else. Next up, the suits get involved. He gets dragged into this super tense meeting with his boss, HR, and some mystery guy from corporate. They start grilling him, trying to figure out what he knows about all these external pressures on the workers, all while trying to keep a lid on the whole situation. And then finally, the whole abstract threat becomes very, very real. His assistant finds a little packet hidden in a crate of onions in their kitchen. Inside, 5 little unmarked white pills. The chaos isn't outside his door anymore. It's literally mixed in with his ingredients. For Viktor, this is the moment. This is when all the pieces, Anna's warning, the fainting women, the threat, the corporate pressure, it all snaps together. His kitchen, the one place that was his sanctuary of order, has just become the dead center of this whole ugly mess. And that leaves us with the story's big burning question. What happens when the world you've always treated like a dream suddenly becomes a real-life nightmare? Can a guy who's built his entire identity around being a detached observer just keep watching? Or does the cook have to stop watching and finally pick up a knife?